Cancer. I do love my cancers. Crab people are fantastic people. Cancer Sun is a heavy placement towards family, bonds, connections, and flows. A Cancer Sun could be described as a lake, placed in a period where people can come together, engage in an energy, engage in a form. It's a strong point where community and gathering occurs. Now, this sometimes makes Cancer prone to wanting to be sort of star of the crowd, which pros and cons to that, really. Cancers are very emotionally driven, emotionally charged. There's a strong form and strong nature of just wanting to be everybody's friend in some cases, or people pleaser attitudes that may be sort of relying or hiding underneath all of it. Cancer's sort of a twisted energy form and twisted energy nature, and it's a fun one. Don't get me wrong; it's a fantastic and it's a fun one. But the pincers can sometimes make it a little bit possessive. A lake, or consider it as a crab. Those are usually the two best forms to kind of consider Cancer within. The reason why a lake is because lake is the body of where home and family can kind of come together and do their thing. It's where people can kind of come and be in their nature and be in their form. And so Cancer as a lake is that perfect coming together place. But think about it. If a lake's constantly getting shit in, eventually it's going to become toxic. Cancers that are beat on too long eventually become hostile, mean, nasty, and awful little people. Cancers in their own nature can also sometimes be a little bit possessive, a little bit greedy, and a little bit self-centered. And so we need to kind of keep a close eye on that nature of ourselves to be a little bit more harsh, a little bit more critical than we mean to be. Watch our flow, watch our nature, watch our form. Now, the other way to look at cancers is as a crab. And crab, there's three major concepts to keep in mind here. Number one, crabs always skitter sideways. They always move back and forth. They're never direct. They're never targeted. Now, whether you want to see this is where I learned that you can see the nature of the natal chart as a pro or a con, but once you understand if it's pro or con, you have to react to it in its level and in its way. For example, the Cancer skitter is really a fucking disadvantage for us Cancer people. And until we've learned to be direct and forward with people, it's really hard for us to actually proceed and progress in life in a positive way. And so Cancer has to get over being skitterish and start actually learning to be direct. Means relying on different parts of ourselves besides our sun sign, though. And that's where natal charts get a little bit more complicated and fun. Either way, recognizing that all crabs will tend to skitter at some point or another, recognize your Cancer has a natural state of evasiveness, dodginess, moving around the situation rather than just coming right at it and straight on. Cancer has also got big pincers. They like to cling on to things. They like to hold on to things. Whether it be people, whether it be concepts, whether it be ideas, Cancers have a tendency just to hold on at all times and not ever really let go of anything. What else? Cancers, big shells. This is where it gets interesting, though. Some Cancers, you can see them as king crabs. Other Cancers, you see them as hermit crabs. I love my hermit crab peoples. They are fantastic. Why? Because if your shell gets damaged, they're just going to move out of that shell and move it into something else. This can sometimes make them seem inconsistent, but the truth of the matter is, they're just looking for their form. They're just looking for themselves. They're exploring the world, trying to discover themselves through interactions with themselves in the world. It's a matter of discovery through being. They're good little goths, they're good little emos, but they're also good little punks, and they're also good little metalheads, and then they'll flow through all of it in some way or some other. This can make some Cancers seem like chameleons, but at the end of the day, they just love what they love. The other ones, the king crabs, these ones tend to have long memories, long forms, long natures. As long as they can continue to expand, though, and continue to have the strength to molt, they will continue to grow at all times. These are the ones that can become really, really massive motherfuckers. These are the ones that I think also become really, really, really dangerous motherfuckers. And recognizing the capacity of the Cancer to grow to great capacity, so long as it has the strength, the energy, the willpower to grow to its massive form, becomes sort of a secret power within the Cancer energy. Cancer is very spiritually inclined, highly intuitive, and tapping into a balance with the fire of free will with the Cancer nature can sometimes make a very powerful Cancer individual come out into play. Cancer placements also, if positive, are usually very bountiful, very prosperous. It brings sort of a sense of family, comforts, familiarity, security, makes people feel like they're where they belong. Everybody wants to belong. At the end of the day, Cancer, really good at making other people feel like they belong. Not so good at feeling like they belong sometimes, and can be a little bit dodgy when it comes to finding what's home and what's that place and that's good for them. Now, going through the signs, I think I flaked on some of Gemini, but whatever, it's Gemini. Sun in Cancer, we've talked a little bit about, just apply this and you've got sort of the general personality. Moon in Cancer, tricky form. Tricky form with Moon in Cancer. Why? Because Moon in Cancer, it's really, really powerful. It's really, really, really strong. It's really fucking tied to the moon. So you're a different person from one day to the next with this placement, and typically finding yourself in a constant state of emotional flow and emotional being. Strong intuitive feelings, strong deep dream gifts, kind of being sort of lost to your own state and your own form in a lot of ways with that. And the trick with that one is needing to realize how overwhelming emotions can be, especially around a full moon. Realizing how absolutely sinister and weird you can be, especially around a new moon. There's a certain nature that you find when Cancer applies against the moon. Cancer and Mercury, neither good nor bad per se. I find Cancer and Mercury to be... You take the emotions of Cancer and you put them on fucking adrenaline. It's a pain in the fucking ass. That said, it's good at getting to the feelings of things. It's good about talking about the heart. That evasiveness can be a really, really big problem here at this case, because sometimes it avoids discussions, period, because it knows to engage the discussion is going to create a bad situation or bad discomfort. When it does do conversations, it wants to make sure the comfort and security is paramount at the end of it. It doesn't want to see a conversation cause a major change. It never goes well. Venus in Cancer, much more enjoyable. Venus, anything love-related and emotion-related does really, really well in Venus, period. Just because Venus really likes to kind of throw itself out there. And Venus in Cancer, it's very socialite, it's very outgoing, it's very expressive, it's very bouncy, it's very, hey, here I am with all the people, here I am engaging in the energy, engaging in the flow, here I am presenting myself in such a bright, beautiful way. These are the ones that cannot get pissed in though. Think Simpsons, when Homer's Simpsons movie, when Homer is trying to hide the shit from the pig, and he winds up throwing it to the lake, and the whole lake comes around and bubbles up and goes all black and goes evil. That is basically a Cancer and Venus that's gone to fucking shit, and it is fucking done with people and done with energy and done with form. They're poisonous. A poisonous lake will kill everything around it, not just the animals, but the crops. Everything just starts dying. And so Cancer Venus has to be especially careful that it's filtering itself out and letting itself go through the motions, changes, and transformations of evolution. Mars and Cancers. Mars and Cancer can't fight. Sorry, like, Cancers are a natural fighter, but Mars and Cancer just can't fight. They just, it's Mars doesn't do emotion. Mars does not do emotion at fucking all. And so when Mars winds up in Cancer, it just sort of deflates and self-destructs. And the self-destruct portion can be kind of bad. They can be somewhat very critical of self, harsh on self, angry at self, always angry at self. Never seen a Mars or Cancer that's not angry at themselves. They don't fight well. They fight dirty. They fight very dirty. And these are the ones where if they're stuck on you, they will become utter people pleasers and try to do everything to save you. If they're angry or violent or pushing back on you, they might try to kill you. They might. Jupiter in Cancer's decent. See, Jupiter likes being friendly and outgoing and abundant and everything else, and Cancer generally does this really, really well. Jupiter also applies a really nice spiritual gift into Cancer and brings about really, really good intuition, clairvoyancy, spiritual gifts, spiritual understanding, shamanism, whatever else you want to kind of dive in on. It's just good for the spiritual kind of dynamics. Saturn in Cancer, not as so beneficial. You can be the teacher aide's best friend, or you can be the teacher's pet. You can never be both. And so I don't think you can never be both in this case, but I should double check that someday. Anyway, Cancer Jupiter, teacher's aide, loves you. Saturn Cancer, teacher itself does not like you. And so it's sort of a mixed blessing at this point if you got both. Saturn Cancer can be critical, harsh, angsty, a little bit on the... One person described it as you just don't belong. Another person I know described it as you're always at war with yourself and belonging. It's just sort of a weird conflict point. Neptune... Yeah, Neptune in Cancer, not bad, honestly, because anything water-based usually does well in Neptune. That said, Neptune has a certain effect where it can make people really, really kind of daydreamy, weird, and aloof. And I find Neptune Cancer does this really, really badly. So you just kind of got to watch out with that one, that it's not undermining your understanding of reality. That's sort of a broad way of putting it. Neptune Cancer can be very dream state, very families, very, very important, but very new agey important, if that makes sense. They can be a little bit, let me sage you and put. There was a gal once that taped agates to my head, and I'm pretty sure she's a fucking Uranus Cancer. They're just floofy that way. Neptune Cancer works actually. Yes, Neptune. Neptune, Uranus. Uranus? I've got these backwards, sorry. I think I've got these backwards. Uranus, Cancer, good. Neptune, Cancer, bad. So Neptune Cancer, bad? Yes. Neptune, Cancer, bad. Not bad. Not good. Just flows a certain way, flows a certain form. My head hurts. I just had a weird twitch. I also just discovered the pause button. Yes. Neptune in Cancer, not bad, floofy, weird, new agey ant that can sometimes be up their ass. Uranus, that's the one that was having a hard time coming out. Weird twitch. Uranus in Cancer is actually kind of neat. Because Cancer is that whole lake dynamic and it kind of connects with all things around it, Uranus in Cancer actually provides a really, really nice point where you can flow and be in that larger social network on a spiritual level. Whereas Neptune Cancer is floofy, new agey ant, Uranus Cancer can sometimes be a lot more spiritual leader, hierophant, pope, cult leader. Maybe. You're never 100% sure. A lot of Uranus placements create cult leaders, let's be honest. Pluto Cancer's not bad. Pluto likes Scorpio more than Cancer, but at the end of the day, they'll still work well enough and be friends where they can. I think the big thing with this one is to realize that there's always sort of a pull on family values and family code and family bits. The nice thing is that you get I'll probably rant about this almost every fucking time too. Pluto is a generational planet. It moves so rarely that the effect on it very much shows a generational curse, weight, burden, something like that to kind of carry. Mine's in Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken, and so it's playing very much on the taboo, the forbidden, bringing up what is hidden within the world and revealing to the world how fucking dirty it is and shit like that. Whereas Cancer, Pluto would be more, not so much the world, not so much everything, because it's not a magnified energy of Pluto. It's instead a focused energy of Pluto upon family values, family traditions, family form. I kind of feel for those motherfuckers because we're already having such a shit time keeping the institution of marriage and anything else like that kind of together. By that point that we hit Pluto in Cancer, I expect most of the institution of marriage to be obliterated and people to be fairly understanding that you are who you are with who you are and what you are, and there's no fucking judgment, shame, or, well, there might be judgment and shame and things like that around it still, but it's just not the same way. It's not the same tone. It's not as Bible Beltish. Anyway, that's should be the quick cap for... That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call these quick caps. Quick cap for Saturn, Cancer, the zodiac sign.